Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host and coach Aditya Sisodia, and it's my pleasure to host you. In our today's episode, we are going to talk about what are the three common challenges because of which team cohesiveness is not there. Now, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and CXOs, and one of the common challenges that I have seen is that the team cohesiveness is not there. The project tend to end on time and the project are left midway, and it becomes quite typical or difficult for the team lead to progress ahead. If you are an entrepreneur or if you face any such problem where your team is working round the clock, and although on the face of it, everyone looks impressive, but you know the reality that the team member are somewhere getting sucked in into their own reality. They are not at all interested, they are not at all motivated. Now, with this topic, we are going to be talking about what are three common reasons because of which team lack and the team are not able to progress ahead. So if you're with me, hit that like and subscribe button and do comment in the chat. We love to read your chat. And before we begin with the session, I would invite all of you to think, according to you, what are the top three reasons because of which team cohesiveness lacks? So, can you guess what are the reasons because of which people exit the team, exit the organization, change their TL? So, here is the number one reason. This is the one reason because of which most of the people just move out. It is vague goals. Yes, you heard that right. Now, if you ask an employee, where do you see yourself in the next quarter, in the next two quarters? How do you position yourself in the organization? What's your objective? What's our organization objective? There is a high probability that the employee would be numb or the employee would be confused and dazed. Just think about how are you guiding your team members? How are you guiding your employee to take ownership? Now, I would be sharing with you three ways how you can turn these vague goals into clarity, into crystal clear thinking. Are you ready for it? Now, before I tell you, as always, I'll invite you to pick up paper, pen, note down your ideas, take that sheet, and let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. So let's start. The first and the most important thing is when you are working with your team members, it is crucial that you are clarifying the purpose of any project, of any proposal, of any activity. I still remember the first time when I started working in my corporate organization, I was having this conversation with my chief marketing officer. The chief marketing officer asked me, Aditya, I'll request you to please staple these pages and show it to me. And also do punch them. I thought, what's the big deal in doing that? But after getting back to the CMO with the sheets that I punched in, the CMO told me, Aditya, see, this is not done correctly, and this is the right way to punch. And it was a lesson for me. Are you clarifying the purpose of each and every instruction that you are conveying to your team? How would it result in their betterment, in their advancement? Or are you just giving them work thinking that this will improve them, and at back of their mind they feel that all this clerical work is going to drain them? So remember to clarify your purpose, your intention. The second way how you can ensure that an employee is not confused with vague goals is to ensure that you set some specific goals for them. Set some weekly, fortnightly goals. Have some brainstorming session with them. Ask them what's their aspiration and how would the timeline that you decide with them would support them. The challenge is manager only set goal during the appraisal period. How frequently are you sitting with your team members, brainstorming with them about their aspirations, about organizational aspirations, about department aspirations, and aligning it with the big picture? So, number one, clarify the purpose of your instruction. Number two, have some specific goals with timeline. The third and the most important thing is, which you can do as a favor to your team member, is define roles. Majority of the time, be it a MNC startup or even a SME, a person is doing multitasking, which results into role confusion and lack of clarity. My question to you is, do your team member have clarity about their role? Or are your team member burdened with a lot of task assignment? And at the end of the day, when it's asked who is responsible, it's pure blame game and finger pointing. Ask yourself, how are you conveying their roles? I do understand in a startup it would be difficult to convey the roles, but are we clear on if any additional role is being given? What is the duration? How long would that project last? And how would it help other team members? So, in order to challenge and to improve the vague goal mindset of your employees, do these three things. The first is have clarity of purpose of all the instructions that are being communicated. Number two, set some specific goals by sitting with your team member with timeline. And the third and the most important thing is ensure that there is role clarity. So I hope you have noted down these things. Now, as we move over to the second reason because of which teams cohesiveness is not there. The number one was vague goals. So, moving over to number two is lack of trust. Yes, you heard that right. You heard that right. Majority of the time, there is lack of trust. Now, there can be many reasons. It needs to be proven. Employees during office hours from work from home are saying, sir, we are working, whereas they are enjoying their time. The best way to ensure that trust is there, that cohesiveness is there. Any guess? Any guess what can you do? Remember, establish clear outline ground rules. Yes, you heard that right. What are the working hours? What time would you want your team to report to you, to update you? In case a team member is not working, what is the challenge they might face? These are few of the things that you need to do beforehand. Trust is a gift that is given at the right time. And the number one rule of giving that gift is establish ground rule. Understand what is the expectation and convey your expectation. If you want your employee to update you over email 10 a.m. in the morning, make sure it's done. If you want your employee to update you at 6 in the evening before wrapping up, make sure you do that. If you want your employee to CC you in their mails, make sure you do that. But before that, have these ground rules. Without any ground rules, which are not established, which are not communicated, trust cannot be established. You can tell your team member, convey it to them. You do anything you want during the day. But at this particular interval, this particular time, I want you to be on your decks. I would appreciate that you are keeping me posted of all your actions. Make sure that you make this a part of your code of conduct. So, are you ready to understand what are other ways by which you can establish this common challenge of lack of trust? Think about it. One is establishing ground rule. What are the other ways? Anything that you can guess? Do type in the comment. So, as we move over, the most important thing is spend time together. Yes, the second way how you can overcome this barrier of lack of trust is to spend time together. The more time you spend with your team members, the more you will get to understand them, the more areas of their mind, their anxiety, their aspiration, apprehension would be something that would be there in front of you. Just think about it. When was the last time you spent time with your team members? How do you appreciate? What are the incentives? How do you convey to your team that, yes, I'm here for you? Is it only during the instructions that you are having a one on one with your team members? Or there are other ways in which you are communicating to your team? When was the last time you spent time with your team members, not regarding work, but just giving them your pure, undivided attention? What are the ways you can do that? I do understand team retreat is one of the option, but at the same time, when there is virtual work from home, which is perpetual, something that you can do is have some virtual party get together. A lot of Zoom filters are also there, which can ensure it's fun. You can have coffee meeting. You can just listen to them, what's going on in their life. So this is the second way. Third way is reward teamwork. Yes. How are you rewarding your team members? Just think about it. All your team members are performing well. How are you recognizing them? How are you rewarding them? Many times the team member feel lack of recognition. You can just a simple acknowledgement mail, a simple appreciation mail, Amazon coupon, gift card, or a handwritten note which acknowledges a particular incident is something which your team members and your employees would remember and enjoy. Now, how can you do this? One of the best way is whenever you see any employee performing well, make sure you are taking in notes. So as per the right time, you can reach out to them and you can tell them, I still remember that on Wednesday in the afternoon meeting, the way you stood up and represented your ideas and thought, that's applaudable. That's appreciated. Now, these are few things which, when done correctly, would result in team cohesiveness. So, ladies and gentlemen, what have you learned so far? I would love to listen and learn from you. We discussed about the top two challenges. The first was vague goals, the second is lack of trust. Under vague goals, we discussed three ways how you can ensure that your team is not confused. Your team members are having clarity. The first one was clarity of purpose of every instruction that you are conveying. The second was setting specific goals with timeline. And the third was defining clear rules. If a person is working, what is expected out of their role? If they are taking any additional responsibility, w- till what time, till when would they be doing? So that there is job rotation. The second challenge is lack of trust. And for lack of trust, the three things that we shared were, are you ready for it? The first is set ground rules. Yes, with ground rules, you are able to ensure what is expectation. The second is spend time together. And the third is reward teamwork, recognize your team member for their unique contribution. If they have done something notable, to applaud to them. Now, the most important thing is, and this is our final point for the day. Any guess? What's this final point? Think about it. Because this is something where a lot of people lack. Okay. So the final point is ineffective communication. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right. Ineffective communication. A manager is not able to position themselves in a manner which conveys their sincerity, their genuineness. A team member is not able to speak out their thoughts, their challenges, their problem. And ineffective communication is something which is by and large increasing, since work from home is something which is need of the hour. Even in office, because of lack of communication, or should I say proper communication, a lot of misunderstanding happen. So what can you do to overcome this? The first is exchange feed forward. Exchange feed forward. Now, what is feed forward? Feed forward is something where you ask the other person what challenge they are facing and who are the people they know who can support them. Do reverse mentoring along with exchanging feed forward. Now, uh, feed forward is a concept which was given by Marshall Goldsmith, and it's an excellent because the person shares their challenges, shares the unique solution by taking in accountability of few of the people who would be supporting him or her. So, clubbing of exchanging feedback along with reverse mentoring. Now, reverse mentoring is where there is any skill gap, you can guide the other person. These are the two things which will ensure. Now, remember, for both the things, you need to be open in conveying and sharing your thoughts. If this is not done from the starting only, I remember a case where one of my client, a CXO, mentioned that he was given a candidate as his reportee, and the candidate wasn't performing well. The CXO got into the role of a mentor, started exchanging, but unfortunately, within the next few weeks, the person walked out of the organization. In the exit interview, when it was asked from the candidate what was the real challenge, the person told, I wanted the guidance, but the kind of guidance which I got, it was too late for me. So remember, exchange feed forward and reverse mentoring. The second thing which you can do, and this is one thing which I do for a living, which is my profession, is ask question. Ask the other person what are the questions in their head. Ask them what are they doing to become accountable for their questions, for their solution. How are they taking ownership and responsibility to come up with something which is innovative? Most of the time, majority of the time, mainly because of the telling, people exit. Remember, the person in front of you is a mature, fully grown individual. It is essential that how are you supporting the other person? I'll repeat that again. Ask questions, encourage the other person, take a step back, avoid giving any solution to them. I'll encourage you that do watch the video, The Advice Trap by Michael Bungay Stainer. How can you suspend your advice monster? Whenever anyone comes to you, do you wear your advice hat and start giving them solution? Think about it once more. And the final thing that you can do to support your team member is, which I emphasize a lot and I support all my clients as a consultant, is by providing them the necessary training. Yes, training can help in improving the skill gap. If a person is having some communication issue, you can ensure that what kind of communication issue they are having and you can guide them accordingly. Yeah, you can give them email training, interpersonal training, building relationship training, or anything that you feel would guide them, would support them. How are you understanding or doing a training need analysis, training need identification for your team member? Remember, it's quite crucial that the right training should be provided at the right time before it's too late. So, we shared with you what are the top three reasons in our today's episode. The first one was vague goals, the second one was lack of trust, and the third one was ineffective communication. And we shared some actionables also. Do you have anything to add? I would love to hear them. And with this, let's wrap up our today's session. And I'll see you same time, same place. Okay? All the best. Take care and stay safe.